Picture this. You're standing in front of a funhouse mirror at a carnival. As you gaze at your reflection, you see a distorted image staring back. Maybe your head looks tiny atop a stretched out body, or your arms appear really short compared to your legs. You can't help but laugh. I mean, it's bizarre and even unsettling to see. And yet, a part of you just can't look away. There's something strangely mesmerizing about seeing yourself through a warped lens, even if the view doesn't quite really match reality. You check your arms. Oof, nope. Phew. They're like they always have been. Well, that's a good thing. And the funny thing is, I think the way we see ourselves can be a bit like that funhouse mirror sometimes. We're standing there trying to get a clear look at who we are, but the reflection is sometimes skewed by all sorts of external influences, right? Expectations, maybe family dynamics or past hurts, or you name it. I mean, one of the biggest things that distorts our self-image is how others see us. It's as if we're not just looking at ourselves in the mirror, but we're also trying to see our reflection through other people's eyes. And this can really complicate our understanding of who we are, right? Talk about a recipe for confusion. But what if we just took a step back, right? Just take a moment to step back from this funhouse mirror. What if we closed our eyes and took a deep breath and tried to feel our way back to our own inner self? What we actually know we look like, inside and out. What if we actually asked ourselves, who am I? Like really, who am I? Beneath all of these distorted mirrors, these distorted reflections, who am I? It's a question that can feel overwhelming, even scary at times. I mean, after all, we've spent so much of our lives trying to just contort ourselves to fit the images that we see in the social mirrors around us. We've learned to doubt our own instincts and to prioritize others' expectations, even over our own needs and our own wishes and desires. But in this, I believe that really deep down, each of us have this sense, this true sense of who we are, right? This core essence that can never be truly warped or even distorted, no matter how many funhouse mirrors we encounter. I mean, deep down, there is this place of wholeness, of self-compassion, and acceptance. And when we learn to access that inner knowing, everything starts to shift. So today, I want to invite you to join me. I want you to join me in that place of truth within yourself. We're going to explore how to navigate these mirrors, these distorting influences of others' perceptions, and how to create a stronger sense of just self-trust. And then also how to embrace the beautiful, multifaceted reality of who you are. It's not always an easy path, but I promise you this. Every step that you take towards self-love is a step towards freedom. I'm going to say that again. Every step that you take towards accepting yourself and loving yourself, it is a step towards freedom. And you, my friend, deserve nothing less than the freedom of seeing yourself through clear, compassionate eyes. Let's begin. I'm Chad Lawson, and let's calm it down in 3, 2, 1. I bring this up because a wonderful listener wrote in with a question that I think speaks to so many of us. She asked, how do I look if it was others that see me? Oh, that one hits deep. I'm going to say the question again, and I really appreciate her reaching out and dropping an email and asking, and you can do the same. But how do I look if it was others that see me? I mean, how many times have you gotten dressed for the day, right? Then caught your reflection and wondered, what will people think when they see me? Will they approve or maybe even judge the fact that I'm wearing yet another black t-shirt and jeans. Do I look confident, attractive, or even put together? Or am I just falling short somehow? It's a very human thing, right? I mean, this tendency to see ourselves through the eyes of what we think others see us as. It was even coined way back in 1902 by sociologist Charles Cooley. It was this concept that psychologists call the looking glass self. Look it up, it's true. It suggests that our self-image is shaped by how we believe others perceive us. I'm going to say it again. It suggests that our self-image is shaped by how we believe others see us. It's like we're constantly holding up a mental mirror, right? Trying to catch a glimpse of ourselves through the lens of everyone else. It's not really the best way to form our own identity by any stretch. So listen in. So I want you to hear this. When we are overly focused on what we think others see in us, we start to lose touch with our own sense of self. I'm going to let that sit for a second as I say this one more time. When we are overly focused on what we think others see in us, we start to lose touch with our own self. It's like we're performing this constant mental gymnastics routine, right? Twisting ourselves into knots to match some imagined ideal. And it's an ideal we don't even know of what, right? And in this process, we risk losing sight of who we truly are beneath all of these layers because of these guessed expectations. Mental gymnastics indeed. But here's the thing, and this is where the looking glass metaphor really comes into play. People's perceptions of us are like mirrors, reflecting only what is directly in front of them. People's perceptions of us, they're like mirrors, really honestly just reflecting only what is directly in front of them. This means they can only see a small, limited part of who we are. And they're shaped by their own experiences, right? Their own biasness and emotional states, right? Not to mention they only have access to what we choose to show them. It's like they're catching this tiny glimpse of us through a door keyhole, right? And then our minds run wild, imagining that little sliver is the whole truth about who we are. Here, let me give you an example, okay? Let's say you're at a party, right? Chatting with a group of friends, and you make a joke that falls flat. And then suddenly you are hyper aware of the awkward silence that follows. And in that moment, it's so easy to just spiral into self-doubt, right? I mean, to imagine that everyone in the room is judging you or writing you off as unfunny or even weird. But in reality, they're probably just wrapped up in their own thoughts, barely noticing the moment before moving on to the next topic. How many times has that happened, right? Or maybe you post a photo on social media and you find yourself obsessively checking for likes and comments and using these metrics to gauge your own worth. If the response is underwhelming, it's so easy to just conclude that you're somehow lacking, right? That you're not pretty enough or cool enough or interesting enough to have their attention. But again, that's giving other people's online behavior way too much power over your self-worth. The truth is, we can never really know what others think of us. And even if we could, their opinions are just that. They're opinions, not facts. They're colored by all sorts of factors that have nothing to do with the person that you are. So, does this mean that we should just tune out external feedback altogether? Pretend that other people's perceptions don't matter at all? Well, Depends on where you are, but not necessarily. I mean, after all, we're social creatures, right? We are wired for connection and belonging. So it's only natural to care what others think to some degree, right? But the key is finding a healthy balance, right? A way to take in outside perspectives without letting them absolutely consume us. And part of that balance, I believe, is creating a really strong sense of self trust. It's about learning to look in that metaphorical mirror and actually see ourselves clearly, not just the funhouse distortions, but the real beautiful mess of who we are. And that starts with getting curious about your own inner self, your own inner world. So, with me, let's take a quick inhale and just a long exhale. We're going to come back to this in just a second. But speaking of distorted self perceptions, sometimes for those that have children, they struggle with certain types of subjects in school, which can impact their self esteem. At least I remember this as a child. How about you? And this is where IXL Learning comes in. IXL Learning is an online learning program for kids that covers math, language arts, science, and social studies. And it's designed to help them understand and master topics in a really fun way with positive feedback. IXL is used by 1 in 4 students in the US and in 95 of the top 100 school districts. Backed by research, kids using IXL are scoring higher on tests across the country. Powered by advanced algorithms, IXL gives the right help to each kid from pre-K all the way to 12th grade, no matter their age or personality. One subscription gets you everything, saving you time and money. And in fact, a single hour of tutoring costs more than a month of IXL. So make an impact on your child's learning and get IXL now. Actually, my kids have it and it's incredible. Calm It Down listeners get an exclusive 20% off an IXL membership when you sign up today at IXL.com/calm, CALM. That's IXL.com/calm for the most effective learning program at the best price. And side note, summer is coming up and our kids are going to be doing this every day during the summer. So it's incredible to use, especially during summer. With IXL, you can empower your children to feel confident in their abilities and see themselves in a more positive light. And that's what today is all about. Now, let's get back to navigating our own self-perceptions. Okay, so this week, I want you to try this. This is one of my most favorite things to do and to teach, as it's incredibly powerful. Don't skip what I'm about to share with you. This week, carve out some time for self-reflection. I know it's hard, but find a quiet spot, right? Grab a journal and ask yourself some really deep questions, of which I'm going to share with you right now. But get past the fluff, right? Get to the core. This is why we're doing this. This is why we're listening to this episode and to this podcast, is because we want to better ourselves. So write these down. Okay, very first thing, what do you value most in life? Have you thought about this? What do you value most in life? And then another question to ask yourself, what makes you feel alive and real, just authentic? What makes you feel alive? And then when do you feel most like yourself? And conversely, when do you feel like you're just performing a role to please others? So when do you feel most like yourself? And then when do you feel like you're performing a role to please someone else? As you explore these ideas, I want you to try to tune into your own intuition. Notice when something resonates as really true for you, even if it doesn't match up with what you think you should feel or think you should believe or just be, right? And the more that you practice this kind of self inquiry, the easier it becomes to recognize your own inner voice amidst all of the noise on the outside. So take some time to self reflect, to journal, and ask yourself these questions. And then another key piece of the puzzle is surrounding yourself with people who see and appreciate the real you. You know, the ones that make you feel like you can let your guard down and show up exactly as you are, right? Without fear of judgment. I mean, when you are around them, you don't have to perform or pretend. You can just breathe and be yourself. So spend some time thinking about the relationships in your life. Who are the people that make you feel most seen, most heard, and especially most valued, right? I mean, the ones who celebrate your quirks and your vulnerabilities, and they cheer you on as you grow. These are the mirrors worth gazing into, my friends. 'Cause they are. They're the ones that reflect back your light, not just your flaws. All right, this next part is really important, and I want to make sure that you're in the right headspace to hear this. Okay, so I want to share with you another company that supports the podcast. Yes, I know, but sit with me for this. But these companies, honestly, they're what keep this podcast coming, right? They are so important. They're so necessary. So let me share this with you really quickly, and then we're going to get back to the most important part of the episode. Did you know that your temperature at night can have one of the greatest impacts in your sleep quality? If you wake up too hot or too cold, I highly recommend you check out Miracle Made bed sheets. They're inspired by NASA. Miracle Made uses silver-infused fabrics and makes temperature-regulating bedding so you can sleep perfectly at the perfect temperature all night long. These sheets are self-cooling for better quality sleep and self-cleaning, as the silver prevents up to 99.7% of bacterial growth. This means they stay cleaner and fresher 3 times longer than other sheets. No more gross odors and less laundry as well. They are super luxuriously comfortable and without the high price tag of other luxury brands. Go to trymiracle.com/calm to try Miracle Made sheets today. And if you order now, you can save over 40%. And if you use the promo code CALM at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and an extra 20% off. And it's all backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. Upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/calm and use the code CALM to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save 40%. Trymiracle.com. Treat yourself. And thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode. Now that you know how to get a good night's sleep, let's dive back into learning how to cultivate a healthier self-image. Okay, what I'm about to tell you now is super important. Are you ready? Are you listening? Your worth is not up for public debate. I'm going to say that again. Your worth is not up for public debate. It's not something that can be measured in likes and comments and even compliments. It's an unchanging truth that lives inside of you, a glowing ember that no external opinion can put out. Think of your worth like a diamond. No matter how it's viewed or handled, its value is always the same. It might be admired, might be coveted, or even criticized, but none of those external assessments change the nature of the diamond. And in the same way, your worth is precious. It's an unchangeable part of who you are. It's not something that can be given or taken away by anyone else. So when those moments of self-doubt creep in, because they do, because we are human, and when you find yourself getting lost in the distorted reflections of the funhouse mirrors, I want you to remember this. You have the power to choose what perceptions you bring inside. You have the power. You have the power to choose what perceptions you internalize. You can consciously decide to align with your own truth, to anchor yourself, knowing your worth. And it's a practice. It's a practice of self-compassion, of self-trust, and learning to look inward rather than outward for validation. So on the hard days, I want you to keep coming back to that place of self-love, of self-acceptance, right? Keep whispering those words of affirmations to yourself, even when the world around you feels loud and chaotic. But I want you to whisper, I am enough, exactly as I am. My worth is not based on anyone else's approval. I am enough, exactly as I am. My worth is not based on anyone else's approval. And remember, there will be days when the funhouse mirrors, they seem especially distorted, when it feels harder to hold on to your sense of self-worth. And that's okay. It's all part of being human. But what matters is that you keep coming back to your own truth. That you keep choosing to just recognize your own self. Because the more that you do that, the more you'll find yourself surrounded by people and experiences that reflect the light back to you. You'll start to see your own beauty and value mirrored in the world around you, not because it's based on external validation, not at all, but because you're living in alignment with your deepest truth. And that is a powerful thing to see. As we close out on this time together, I want to leave you with this thought. Your self-perception, how you see yourself, it's sacred. It is a sacred thing. It's like a garden that deserves to be tended with the utmost care and the utmost compassion. Yes, other people's reflections might drift in like seeds on the wind, but you get to choose which ones take root and which ones bloom. Remember that. Other people's reflections, they might drift in like seeds on the wind, but you get to choose which ones take root. So be mindful of the mirrors that you gaze into, my loves. Seriously. Surround yourself with ones that show you your own beauty, not just the distortions, right? Surround yourself with mirrors that show your own beauty. And above all, just trust yourself. Trust the wisdom of the looking glass inside your own heart, the one that knows beyond a shadow of a doubt how precious and how worthy you are. As always, I'm cheering for you, and I hope you're cheering for yourself too. So be kind to your mind this week, and remember, you are enough exactly as you are. So thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for living. And thanks. Thanks for letting me be a mirror for your magnificence today. Let's keep shining together. And until next time, my friends, smile and join me again as we calm it down. To find more episodes of Calm It Down, see where I may be appearing in your area, or just simply want to know where to send me some chocolate chip cookies, visit calmitdownpodcast.com. This podcast was written and produced by yours truly, Chad Lawson, composer, pianist, and nationally recognized Sweet Tooth. The views, expressions, and techniques in this episode are of my personal opinion and not intended, nor should they, serve as a substitute for medical advice or diagnosis rendered to you by your individual doctor or other healthcare provider. Only a licensed physician should evaluate your situation, provide a diagnosis, or render other medical advice to you. And you should only act upon the advice of this physician. Now, I'm an extreme empath by nature, but my profession is that of a composer and pianist, not a licensed therapist or physician. I hear from thousands of listeners how my music has helped them through various stages of emotional needs, and I simply want to offer this in future podcast episodes to aid those needs. So to find a list of licensed professionals in your area, please visit calmitdownpodcast.com. And if you've enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review, or better yet, share it with a friend. While it takes less than 60 seconds to do, its impact will last for years to come, as every little bit helps in growing the awareness and the importance of mental and emotional health. Thank you for listening. Thank you for living. And until next time, be kind to your mind and join me again as we calm it down.